all doing extremely well this evening, this Tuesday the 6th of January. Yeah, been a busy old week already. This week after the chaos that was yesterday, onto the stuff that goes on today. Lucky's already in there. Lucky Legend saying breaking news: Wilcox role team director is thinned by ice. Spanish source claim after sacking of the manager. All I'm going to say on this one is, Lucky, I wouldn't believe the Spanish media. But we can all have our things that we believe are right and that sort of stuff. But I wouldn't trust the Spanish media. But look, credit my friend. Maybe you're right, Lucky. I would absolutely be all over that. If that was true, then I think that should be correct. I think 100% Lucky. I think if you're right, my friend, I would encourage that all day, because I think Wilcox, has got a big, massive part to play in this mess as well. So look, if this is your first time here, welcome to the United Devil channel with me, JB. Get into this amazing community, get into this fantastic community. Absolutely the best on this platform. We may not be the biggest, we're not the smallest, but we are the best. I'm very, very fortunate to have you guys here with me as well. So first thing to say is, get into the chat, get into this community, be respectful to yourselves, be respectful to the community, be respectful to me. Otherwise, the ban hammer comes out, and we don't mind using the ban hammer. We don't mind doing it. We don't mind banter. So get into the comments. We absolutely do not mind banter at all. In fact, we kind of welcome it a bit at times, particularly given where the club is at this point in time. So we actively encourage you guys to bring in your comments, which is fine. Second thing says, look, I'm not a dictator of this chat. I genuinely do give you your opinions. I will read out your chat. So just be careful. Just be careful of things that you say, because sometimes people think that these channels don't read your comments. I've literally got your comments right here, and I will read your comments out. So look, got no problem in that at all. Get in your opinions and your views. This is the channel for you. Get in there with your opinions and views, and I will read out your views and opinions. So I wanted to go through the presser tonight. I don't do extremities on this channel. I like to think that we are as level-headed as we possibly can be on this channel. I'm very, very consistent. And again, we will go through some stuff. So this is a sort of later night show as well. This is really for you guys to get in your opinions. This is for you guys. We can bounce around the topics, but this really is your show tonight. So get in there with the comments. Absolutely welcome here. So look, I want to get into the press conference today. It's quite a long one today. I wanted to go into parts of that as well, because basically at the moment it's jobs for the boys. And yeah, I want to know your feelings tonight. I want to know your feelings on, and again, I know it's boring from some people, but I think it's really, really important that we keep on the pressure on the Glazers. We keep on the pressure on Sir Jim, and we just keep on having these conversations. The more these conversations, and I think what people should understand is that the algorithm of YouTube, of wherever else, will pick all of this up. And every time the Glazers are mentioned, the Glazers out stuff is mentioned, it all goes towards that. So keep on mentioning it as much as you can, and I will keep on talking about it. Promo says, I'd rather Jim Ratcliffe go and take a long walk off a short pier. Good evening from a freezing Lincolnshire, said Simon. Burnley lost 3-2 at Old Trafford last night. Good, Simon. Good. Welcome to you guys, absolute legends of this chat. We've got it all today, right? We've had absolutely every single thing today. We're getting linked to, and again, I'll go through some of the topics that I didn't go through this afternoon. We've got a little bit more time this evening to go through, and these shows will take as long as you actually want them to take. So, the press conference. Look, the first thing I need to say on the press is, look, this is not a reflection on a Fletcher. Are you a lesbian? Mm, well, I can answer it in a particular way. No. I'm hoping that my beard would probably give away. If you're asking me if I like women, yes. But yeah, thank you for the comment. The promise says supposed to be shite weather conditions at Turmoil tomorrow. It might be a scrappy tie. Look, if there's anything about this team and us right now is that we are a scrappy mess. OG says, sorry bro, your banter is good. Look, dude, you can call me a lesbian. I've got no issue. Look, in fact, the banter keeps me away from all the stuff that is wrong right now, right? So look, OG banter, mate, absolutely no issue at all. As long as it is in good spirits, mate, no problem at all, buddy. It's going to be interesting to see what formation we'll play tomorrow. Another 2 windows being wasted. Jesus, Simon. I mean, tomorrow we could play a 4-1. We could play a 1-2-1, 1-2-1-1. I mean, it's going to be ridiculous. Let's get onto that as well, because Darren Fletcher, and look, I do have to prefix this with, this is not a dig at him, by the way. Again, right? I think when we go into the Burnley game, right, this is the one thing I do want to say from the very start is this: whatever Darren Fletcher does here, no blame from me. Absolutely no issue from me. Absolutely no problem from me here. Like as Quirty says there, does Fletcher play 3 or 4 at the back? I think he goes to a back 4. I do. And this is no disrespects to any of you guys on here or to me in some respects, is the fact that we do talk about on here to suit this basic squad. In my view, we almost need to go back to a back 4, right? I don't think there's anything wrong with a back 4. All the best coaches in the world play a variation of a back 4. The reason why I think we'll go to a back 4 is because it's safe. It's because it's what these players know, and it's Billy Basic. And again, you can get all sorts of complex 4-3-3s, and you can have a back 4, and then you can do all sorts of stuff. But the reason why Fletcher will play a back 4 tomorrow is because and again, if he doesn't, respect to Fletcher as well, by the way. But exactly, I think Fletcher goes back to 4-4-2 tomorrow, 4-3-3, 4-1-1. And again, I think what we've got to understand here right now, we need to go back to Billy Basic football. The secondary thing here that people, I think, and I'm just calling it a broad term here, right? Because there are many of you guys who are smarter than me, right? Is that when we change a manager and we revert back to a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3, it's not just a reset of players. It's not just a reset of a formation, right? It's a reset of every single thing. So it's basically that. It is basically the Mike Bassett effect. It is basically Billy Basic football, because these players are basic. And look, this is why I keep saying it. And look, I'm going to and I'm trying not to have a go at plays here, because whether I like it or not, it's a fucking reset again, right? Are these going to? And again, it did work for Fergie, but that was a different era, different time. Fergie had. What I'm saying here is 4-4-2 in its essence is the basic, right? As I said before, as I've just said, there are football. football can be more complex than that, right? But there's a reason why when you want to keep things simple, you go back to a 4-4-2, a 4-1-1. That is precisely why, because every coach learns how to play that, right? Also, Sally makes a good point there. It's not just about the systems as well. It is the personnel. It is the instructions. And Sully, I keep saying this. Or you can have these players have failed in a 4-3-3 as well. By the way, I think Sully is spot on as well. This is a combination of players, attitude of players. James says hi. Hello, James. And again, give me your opinions on this. I would love to know your opinions on how are we going to play. And with these sets of players, look, I want to know from you guys, do you think these sets of players are good enough? And if they are, well, how are we going to play? Do you think we're going to play still a back three? Or are we going to go to a back four? I want to know from you guys, what do you think? Let me go for chats and then I'll come back through this. So look, it's going to be interesting to see what formation we play tomorrow. Sally says another 2 windows wasted. Simon, I saw the lineup and hasn't changed all that much from the Leeds game. I think he will go back to basics, 4-4-2, 4-1-1. So it says, still have fans wanting a new manager after the World Cup, like an Ancelotti, but don't get that will cause massive issues for if any of the transfer plans. Exactly that. Because, and Sully, I think you make a good point. I also think, and I think that's one very, very logical view as well, by the way. But I've actually got a caveat to that. I actually don't think this side of football, Wilcox doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. I genuinely think they have no idea what their targets are. Now, let me give you an example. Their targets are an Anderson, Baleba, a Walton, a Stiller. That is not going to happen. Like, we were told, as well, by the way, the last window, they had plans. They had plans of four to five players in each position. Amaran basically didn't get Quenda, didn't get he got his 5th choice striker. I don't believe, Sully, that they've got plans in place. I genuinely do not believe these frauds have a plan in place. I think they do believe that they do, but they do not have a plan in place. So look, we're going to be spun. This is what I believe. We're going to be spun that there's this plan in place that we're going to get players. There is no plan in place. There is no plan in place. But look, Sully, I think that's a very, very interesting point. James Lee says Ollie in now. Other fans contradicting themselves with Glasner as well. That they want and Sully, mate. Sully is bang on it tonight. Sully, bang on it tonight, my friend. How can there are fans that are saying, and again, if I talk about a comment, it doesn't mean I'm disrespecting the comment. It just means that you are literally starting a debate, right? There are fans that are saying they don't want a back three. There are fans that are saying they want to go back to a 4-4-2. But the same fans are talking about a Glasner. What do you think Glasner is going to do? Like, I want to know from you guys as we're talking about this, right? Is this what type of manager do you want? Okay, so the premise coming out of this club as of now is interim manager for 6 months, and then after the World Cup, that is when they are going to move. You can take that to be, is that an Ancelotti? Is that a Tuchel? Is it a Conte? Is it a Glasner because his contract is up? You tell me what sort of coach you want to get, right? And then I'll tell you mine, and you tell me yours, right? The coach that I want in this club is a coach that you can't get. A coach that I think would be perfect for this team, because what I want is unless we're going to back a manager, and my brain says this, if I could get the coach that I could get, any coach in the entire world, right, is different to the coach that I think that we should get. Because if you want to get the best coach, you've got to give him the best players. And that's something that we are not going to do under this, right? So we need a manager who's got experience, a manager that's got a experience of basically working on a budget, because I think fans of this club think that we're going to have billions of pounds to spend. We're not. Who's used to working with what he's got, who's used to bringing through youth players, who trusts youth and can actually build a squad. Emery. I mean, I know Emery is probably not everybody's choice, but he is the manager that I want. The manager I want, and for me, the manager that this fan base should want, is the manager you can't get. Emery, for me, would be that guy. I would go out tomorrow and get him, because I think for what we need now for the youth development, I think for the players that he's going to have to use, because he is going to have to use Luke Shaw next season. Don't be spun and bought into this whole bollocks that we're going to sell 10 players. If you watch if you watch channels out there, fucking last week, the week before, they were talking about, oh, well, we're gonna sell 10 players, we're gonna buy 10 players. We're not doing that. So we need a manager who's going to come in, who's going to be able, who will be able to supplement this team with a mixture of youth, with one or two smart buys, and the majority of this squad here. Emery, for me, it has to be Emery. It has to be. Look, is he going to come? No, because he's not stupid. I feel like he's just signed a deal till 2029. That is the manager that I want. I don't want other people garbage. I don't want a manager who is out of work. I don't want a manager that's been sacked. I want a manager who is in work. I want a manager who is experienced, and ideally Premier League coach. Let's have a look. The squad on paper isn't the worst. I do agree. Maybe try back 8, says Sean. We will get Champions League position, Mohawk. We won't, mate. James says 4-4-2 football formation is the best for United. The Premier says it's a must-win game, but maybe a bit of pressure off. Tomorrow is a nothing to lose match. Yeah, I agree with you. I think tomorrow is a free hit for Fletcher, right? Fletcher, and again, I will get on to the conference. I do have every single word, by the way, and I will get on to that as well. Simon says Fletcher is set to use a 4-2-3-1. Current squad would be good foundation for somebody like a Diego Simeone. The results are more important than the performance in short term to convert. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I couldn't agree more with you. I think right now, it doesn't matter how we get there. It's trying to get there. So look, I do agree with you. Pokedex says sack the board. Sack that board. That board are disgusting. Get rid of that board. They are absolutely awful. Amaran called. He did call out the board, and he lost his power. Yeah, exactly. I'm with you. Most likely they don't, but considered I'm no billionaire owner. Fletcher's at the wheels as Grey Master. Yeah, Fletcher's at the wheel. James says United must sign 2 correct midfielders or else. Yeah, I'm agreed. Bailey says, hi, my name's Bailey. I'm 25. I'm a drama student from Illinois. I'm also fire looking in Wyoming during the summer. My interests is chess, Lego, and trains. I'm also interested in ships. Welcome, my friend. I don't mind a bit of chess. I don't mind a bit of chess, my friend. And welcome, my friend. Steve says, go back to where we should be. Play fullbacks, wingers, 3 or 5 at the back was not what the club was successful with. White, Glazer always. What's he done? Not much, to be honest. Let Fletcher in and develop the youth into the current squad. United need to sign a few Mockelmeister, says Graham. Graham is brilliant. My idea was Simeone. Simeone says quality. The club is doomed. The decline is worse than it was before. I think the decline is I thought we got to a point of 15th last season. Now look, we may not get as low as that, 15th place, but this is as low as it's been. This is low. This is low. Enrique did not extend his PSG contract, looking for a new challenge in the summer. What about Humpty Dumpty, says Graham? I would take Humpty Dumpty all day long. Simeone is the man, but will end up arguing with Ineos too. I mean, can you imagine Simeone? He would end up punching them all out. Ollie looks set alongside Carrick and Evans. We can come back onto that as well. Fletcher will let the youth into the senior squad and build a squad into his current team. Humpty Dumpty is the man. Emery is living life at Villa. No, he is. No, he is. He is. Look, I'm not saying that we would even get Emery. There is zero hope. But he is the guy that I'd get. James says United must introduce Sekou Kone in the middle. James, I hate to break it to you. Sekou Kone is going to Lausanne. He's already gone to Lausanne, my friend. I saw structure chart of Aston Villa. Emery is the next most powerful after the owners. The football directors report to him. I don't think it's happening. I agree with you. It's not. Hings says, question, what do you think of Ollie coming back? Look, Hings, that's a fair question. That is a very, very fair question. And I will answer the question. And again, I think we should all answer Hings' question as well tonight. Let's answer that question, right? What do I think of Ollie coming back? Ollie coming back mid-season, I've got no issue with it. My only issue with it, and I've got to be honest, it basically displays to me how far we've fallen back. Because once I've gone forward, I never want to go back. It will show to me how far we've fallen, how many years we are behind. Now, to bear this in mind, we are supposed to be 5 years on. Right, I think it's, what is it from Ollie? It is, 5 or 6 years on? If we go back to Ollie, we've basically reverted back. Now look, Ollie, I've got no issue with him. Look, if Ollie comes back and we have a great 6 months, he can win something, I'll be happy. I don't mind him coming back, but this can't be long term. And also, I think we also have to admit defeat on the basis that what an abject failure Ineos have been. If we're calling Ollie to come back, and I think this is where we need to have our eyes opened and not let them pull down our pants here, is that if Ollie comes back, it's a failure. Would you have Tuchel? I'm torn on Tuchel. I think he's a very, very outspoken coach. I don't know if the Glazers and Ineos are going to be able to handle it. I think they want a puppet, and I don't know how many puppets are out there. As this is it, Emery would go straight to United with no disrespect to Wolves and Steve. I would love that to happen. And again, much respect to the Villa fans, by the way. I'm not even suggesting that I'm giving the Villa and Emery the respect that they deserve. To say that if I was Emery, I would stay there. But if I was us, I would do everything that I possibly could to go and get him. If I was him, I wouldn't come, but I would do that. I just hope that if Ollie gets it instead of Fletcher, he doesn't go through that process of being sacked twice because of the results. He won't get a third shot. Exactly. United will never be back, says Harley. You might be right, Harley. You might be right. When I talk about being back, we're not going to go back to the Fergie days, right? It's just not going to happen. We will not go back to the Fergie days. I want to be competitive. Us going forward means to me that we're competitive, that we're in the conversation every single season for the top 3. We're pushing for the Premier League title. We're going into the Champions League. We're getting into those semi-finals, the quarterfinals, the finals. I'm not expecting us to dominate. It is not going to happen. Football has moved too far along. Teams have caught up, and that is how it should be. That football should be competitive. Don't get me wrong, it was lovely. It was a wonderful time to be the best club in the land. It was wonderful to be arrogant for a while. It was fantastic. Look, I'm very, very fortunate. I was alive of the time of Oasis, Blur, United, Cantona, Premier League starting. It was just a fantastic era, right? But those times are over. And football is a completely different beast now. So look, I'm not expecting us. I'm not expecting us to get back to where we were. It's not going to happen. I'm asking to be competitive. BTWSL says, came to me, give you a like. Makes sense though. I wanted Iriola. Thanks, mate. David says, we go again tomorrow. I believe the travelling fans will sing Amarin's name loud and proud. And look, David, I hope so. I hope they sing his name loud and proud. I do. I really, really do. Dino's in the house. Dino, big up to Dino. Dino, the legend. Give him some love. Poker Dad says, I told you the other day, but Amarin never got backed and got pretty much misled. So yes, sack the board. Darren says, Fletcher can't do it any worse than the so-called top coaches. Ollie is favourite. Yeah, Martin, legend as well. I think it's Ollie. I do. Ollie is a yes man. Ollie is literally on his hands and knees begging to come back as a coach. Going to be Ollie. Tooch in the summer, let's go, says Harold. A lot of the fan base and some bigger channels ignore the fact he didn't get a single first choice player. My question is, do you think Amarin was doing it on purpose to send a message? And Sully, mate, we've been talking about this all season. I got asked to rank the window after the window, and I said we've probably got a 4 because he didn't get his first choice striker or his second or third choice. He wanted a Quenda. He didn't get him. He asked for players. The most frustrating thing for me here, Sully, is this, right? Amarin didn't recruit these players. Any of them, right? He inherited a team that finished 15th last season. You can say that like he was here, but that wasn't his team. You got a Dorgu, right? Amarin is not to blame for this mess. Amarin asked for players he didn't get. And then today, to go by reports as well, and I don't know who's been talking about this today, is that apparently yesterday Wilcox and Omar Barada met with the players and basically said that Amarin got everything that he asked for. Amarin made his feelings clear. Wilcox and the board didn't understand what happened in the last 48 hours, and Wilcox said that Amarin just changed. What are you talking about, Sully, mate? You are spot on. I think he did it purposefully. People have called Amarin stupid. They've called Amarin all sorts of stuff, right? Amarin is fucking shrewd, right? If it's almost like if you're watching a film, right, and it's a film with twists and turns, and you've got the main person in there, and everybody's saying, "Oh, look at him, he's doing this wrong." He's like Amarin is so dumb, right? Look at what Amarin did. If you go back and you look at after that final, and you look at after the Grimsby game for me was where it changed for him. I think Amarin has known this was on the cards for a while. I think Amarin knows that these players are basic. Amarin has basically played a blinder here. And I know people will question the tactics. Why do you think the tactics look so weird? Amaran wanted out. Amaran said he was never gonna get sacked. The last couple of weeks for me are Amaran going, look, this is what I've got. I need players. Like, we lost players to the and this for me is the epitome of how thick the football side is, right? We've got the AFCON, right? We knew we had the AFCON. And this football inside, in their fucking wisdom, right, decided, I know, Bruno Fernandes is not going to get injured for the whole of the season. He's not going to get injured, right? Mason Mount's going to be fine. He's been out for 2 years. He's going to be fine. Perfect storm comes along because this idiotic football side can't plan. They knew the AFCON was coming. They didn't get this coach. Do you know? If, this is my view. Do you know how long we've been screaming out for a sort of centre midfielder? Herrera, you could probably say did sort of fit into that mould a bit, but we've not replaced a Roy Keane, a Carrick. You can argue. You can't replace those players. That can be argued. But you've not even Fergie wasn't able to replace those players. That is the level of incompetence. Glasner's won 2 trophies in the space of a short time. Evening from Cardigan, says Paul Swansea legend, my friend. 6 months is fine, but only as an interim. It's not about the manager, but the amount of trust and power the board is willing to give to the manager. You may get some game time. Like, share, and subscribe. Yeah, give us a like, favourite, and subscribe. It really does help the channel. It literally costs you 0. Even if you don't like me, just give us a like. I'm fully behind Ollie now. It's going to be Team Ollie, Fletcher. Oh my God. Niche fan, mate. Niche fan, you know I love you to death, my friend. But the trinity of Ollie, Carrick, and Fletcher. Mate, come on, Niche. We gave Rude 4 games, so can't we do for the next interim manager? Yeah, agreed. Look, let's give. Look, it doesn't matter to me who we get until the end of the season. You know, I will support the manager. There are certain players in this team that I will tolerate. The rest of these fuckers can go. After what they've done again to another manager, they can go. But I'm not going to mention them too much tonight because I'm not giving them the limelight. Because they are the ones who've presided over a shit show. They are the ones again who have through their inability to do the simple things of yet thrown another manager. They've just thrown him to the dogs. At least Ineos can't lie about projects anymore. We all need to remember, if we go to a back 4, someone will get dropped. Just don't want to hear moaning. And again, Sully, this is it. This is exactly it. Those of you, and again, I'm not calling people out because people have their own views. Like I have my views, doesn't mean that I'm right. People have their views, right? There are 2 sides to this, right? So if we sacked Amarin, right? I may have to accept the next full-time coach may be a vast improvement. It may just be it could have just been him. And I'm wrong. Right? Those of you who now wanted him out and he's gone out, just remember, if the next couple of games are not great, if the end of the season isn't good, if the manager that comes in next makes things worse, both sides of it, and that includes me, even if I'm even if I'm right, but there's, to me, that you can't be right here. All I want is the best for this community, the best for the fans. I just hope that whatever happens, that both sides can be just like, look, we said this, we said that, and we all just, remain friends. It is. Yeah, it is. It is. It's Harold signs. Yeah, Harold, mate, you guys tonight are absolutely on it tonight. Chelsea rejects as Billy. United will not. Just United definitely needs a yes man. Emery is more likely going to go to Birmingham City than United. I love it. So, Paul, I'd hate to have Ollie thinking, oh, not again, if he faces the board. Should he flop? I'm not saying he will. Hi, United family. Hello, my friend. If Tuchel wins the World Cup and England board will be licking their lips, I think they'll be doing more than licking their lips, mate. I think they'll be calling him up for a session. Get who they want. Let Fletch if Ollie comes back. Yeah. Billy says Fletcher's our man, and I will come on to the conference. I will come on to that sort of stuff as well. Brian Robson, next manager of United, says, keep smiling. Your opinion is whoever win the Turkish league or Galatasaray. I've got no dog in that fight, my friend. I don't want to upset anybody. I literally don't know. I would probably say Galatasaray would probably win it, not because I'm favouring them, not because I like them more than any other Turkish club. I would say Galatasaray should win it because they've got the better players, I think. Fletcher was in Porridge. Your opinion is, yeah, I've done that one. Howard says blur. I'm sending an email to Luis Enrique. Your opinion, yeah, I've done that. Sully, Mainu, Xerxes, Ugarte, Lucha at the end. Rest of the players were with Amaran, but I think the power struggle with the board got in the way of the system. I do agree. Anthony says hi. Ryan Giggs and his brother next management. In those days, teams feared the Red Devils at the Theatre of Dreams. Now it's just at Old Trafford. No, it is. If it wasn't a fantastic era outside top six, United to Chelsea just bought best players and kept clubs down. And Paul, look, mate, it was a, for me, not being old enough necessarily, I was like, what, teenage years, right? But not being old enough to understand the sort of the intrinsities of like how football clubs work, with sort of hindsight of that, you did get that, United were big, and others probably did stunt the growth of teams. Selwyn, absolute legend, my friend. I hope you're doing extremely well. Maximum respect, John. Here we go again. Same old shit, just different day. Just hope that we can get 3 points. 3 points. The owners not looking for a manager. They want a puppet. Yes, man. I've got no issues with Ollie. Selwyn, legend, my friend. The bookies have him favourite now. I don't disagree. We were the best team in the world in '99. And then there was a fallout over a horse, and that was the beginning of the end. Steve, yes, it was, my friend. Ollie, the best manager we've had since Alex. Ollie should have come back after Ten Hag. So Thomas Tuchel, next one after winning the World Cup. Eric Ten Hag now a director at FC 20. Now he can have his whole squad of players sign into his own sports agency. Absolute scandal. Yeah, I mean, the Ten Hag thing. I mean, yeah, I mean that was a that was a disaster, wasn't it? The players that stabbed Ollie against Watford are still here. Exactly. They must set a player or two now in January. Harold, mate, they're not signing players, mate. They're not signing players. Keir Starmer is interested in the job. The New Year says, seriously, what the F is going on at United, mate? I don't know. You don't get a bigger yes man than Southgate, Paul. I've been saying this, mate, for quite some time. Sack the canteen staff, pay Amaran 10 million, termination. Exactly. Are there plans of bringing back our academy graduate Scott McTominay because selling him was a blunder? No, because Scott McTominay would cost you £70 million to buy back. It's not going to happen. And also, never mind whether we can buy him back, right? He's not going to want to come back. Who the hell would want to come back into this? So no. Chelsea didn't waste time choosing the next manager. I wonder exactly how long the club will get in taking a proper manager. Someone, my friend. Harold says need a CM. I do agree. Wilcox is so full of God. Billionaire boys club, not a football person. Luke Littler next. I love it. He committed managerial suicide. Yes, I agree. If I'm honest, I knew he'd get a payday. I would expose my boss. Exactly. Luke the Nuke. Josh says, hi. Hello, Josh. Glenn says, Joe Willock and Dorgu in the midfield. Amaran has said he is shocked our players' mentalities and physicality. It's really, really funny that every manager that comes here says the exact same thing. And Sully, I've been saying this all season. I go crazy on it. We have low IQ, low mentality players. Ridiculous. How Luke Shaw, and again, I'm going to keep mentioning Shaw now because Shaw for me is the epitome. Shaw is the fucking epitome of how many coaches has he sacked. I have to say, I hope Yoro looks better in the back four. He's slow. He's limited another £50 million down the drain. JB, do the poll again. Ollie, yes or no? Okay, let's do that for Dino. Because, we all love Dino. So, let's do Dino. Let's do Ollie back for 6 months. There you go. Ollie back for 6 months. Here we go. Have some of that. Have some of that. Glenn says, lost out on Liam Rossignol. Yes, we did. Man United is the biggest team in Salford. Gary Neville is also one to blame. Ex-players are as bad as the press and the board. He will praise for... And David, you so know now that these ex-pundits and Neville are not going to go against their mate. That's a fact. They will not go against their buddies. So, Darren Bent said on Talkshite, can't blame Amarin for not being able to pass 5 yards. Exactly what I say. Bent said it's Talkshite, can't blame Amarin. Sully, we're on the same wavelength. You can't. Amarin isn't at fault for players' lack of ability. These players earn hundreds of thousands of pounds a week. Before we think about giving an interim the job full time, give him 4 games, and he did with Root, see how he goes from there, and let the board decide. Amarin sacked himself by going to a back 4 and improved it. They went back to his way next game, and it was like 2 fingers up to Wilco and Co. Agreed. Absolutely agreed. Neville is a lefty. Aside from money, good job. You guys, you're making good points. Mid-table is, I do agree. Rooney was our last decent midfielder. You are the only talking United job for money that you're only taking the United job for money. Yeah, bring back Ron Atkinson. It's going to be a bit hard. Ron Jeremy, as Keno once said, jobs for the boys. Oh, it is job for the boys. It absolutely is. Miss Bunny, it is player power. Yeah, main factors were winning games. I don't know if there's anyone who wants to coach this team. Ollie is at the wheel. To be honest, in my long time as a fan, I've lost count of how many managers we've gone through. Rúben saying he wants to be a manager and not the coach shows above how him are telling him to do certain things. Stinks of the Chelsea model. And Miss Bunny, Sir Jim is a massive fan of their model. And that's why it would be a good trio of M's. It swings and roundabouts with this management circus. The players that stabbed Ollie against Watford are still here. Glenn, I've been a fan for 51 years. Brendan Rodgers, Glenn Hoddle. Oh, I love it. Peter K. Wilfred, Nancy did a good job. So, yeah, I think he'd be a fantastic job. Paul Scholes, Neville as coaching assistant. Who's better for either Fletcher or Liam for Chelsea? Liam. Tulip Plays says, hi JB. Hello Tulip, hope you're doing extremely well. Legend of the chat. Tulip Plays is a legend. Go and check her channel out as well, by the way. She does fantastic things on her channel, so give Tulip Plays some loves. Just a heads up, I'll be off YouTube for the next week as I'm going to start my revision for upcoming exams in a couple of months. If I don't see you around, that's why. Tulip Play, absolute legend. As I say, go and check out the channel. Tulip Play's channel is brilliant, absolute talented. I really love the edits. Being honest, nobody's mentioned Big Sam. Lewis says hi. Hello, Lewis. Ollie, maybe not Tim. Someone says, Ineos so happy that we're changing to a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1. So they can save money on a midfielder in their eyes. I agree with you. I agree with you. Luke Shaw is past it. No, he really is. I wonder how many more coaches Shaw will get sacked. I mean, Luke Shaw might as well stay here until, what's Luke Shaw now? 29, 30? What's Luke Shaw on? 7 managers? Luke Shaw might as well stay around for at least 3. Might as well get 10 in, right? Ollie for 6 months. Yeah, agreed. Are you happy that... Zahir Khan says, are you happy that Amaran is sacked? No. It is devastating. It is a failure. Makes the club look bad. I think it's absolutely horrific. Someone says top 5 or 6 would be our limit. My top 4 in order: City, Arsenal, Villa. If Ollie is finished his 6 months, I would like Tuchel. Thanks, JB. It means a lot. No, absolute no problem. So let's get through the press conference. I do have the conference and what was said. So look, we're going to go through that. You tell me. And look, before I start, all I'm going to say is this: I do not blame Fletcher. Fletcher will get my support in the next game. I don't care about his plays. There are certain plays in this team that I don't mind, but right now I couldn't give a shit about these plays. I will support the club tomorrow because it is my club. But I really don't care. So look, Fletcher said, as you say, it's an amazing honour. And think to be able to lead out this team, I don't even think it's in my wildest dreams. So that's something that could potentially happen. Think even about playing for this club and those sorts of things. But to lead out the team is an amazing honour and something that I'm really proud to do, but not in these circumstances. Look, I like that from Fletcher. The first thing to say is Fletcher. I like how he speaks. A very good play. A really good play. One of these, what I talk about on this channel lots and lots of times, how I want players who just want to play in this club, right? Who don't mind putting their bodies on the line, who are a proper player, who just want to play for the club and will take their chances. Darren Fletcher was the epitome of that. What people also don't seem to realise about him as well, he was out for a long time with colitis, right? So that is horrific disease, right? Colitis is not something that you want. I've got people in my family that have colitis, and colitis is not good, right? And the fact that he was able to get through that shows the mentality. So look, Fletcher for me ticks a couple of boxes, ticks the player boxes, servant boxes. Look, I'm not getting caught up in a nostalgia thing here, but if I'm looking at an interim and it's the worst of a bad bunch, Fletcher's okay with me. Scott is in the house. Legend. I want new owners who not going to give an F. A manager off every 14 months. I would love to see our bench once Fletcher's chosen, just to see who's going to start. Fletcher was a sort of player for many years and a great servant. John, it's almost 1:30 here. Have a good night. Selwyn, absolute legend, my friend. Speak to you very, very soon. Fletcher has won a shed load of trophies. It's not about legend. Ollie proved he can't do it. I'd rather Fletch get the chance. And I agree. And as well, one of the things I'm going to say, look, I always want to give a manager, especially an ex-player. I'm not the biggest fan of the ex-player brigade, right? But if one of them takes over, I have to give them the benefit of the doubt. Fletcher was brought in under a decent team, played for many, many years. He knows what it means to play for the club. I don't like sentimentality either. 100%. Tulip plays. Agree with you 100%. As an experiment for 6 months, fine, it works. I can deal with it. I can deal with it, right? Long term, we've got to think more about it. But the one thing I do like about him, and I'll get to the thumbnail as well, because it is fucking jobs for the boys, right? Is that I like it for now. He then went to say, I never expected it to happen, so that obviously something that, doesn't sit quite easy with me, but I've just got to think of the job I've got to do. I've got to lead the team tomorrow and think of it as a great honour and the pride, and I will do that. Look, who does that sound like? It sounds like Ollie. It sounds like Carrick. It sounds like Giggsy. You know, how many times have we had the start of a press conference with, I didn't expect that to happen, but guess what? It doesn't sit quite easy with me, but it's a job that I have to do with pride, and you'll get the, it's ridiculous. Now, basically then I'll say, what conversations have you had with Jason Wilcox about how long you could be in charge for maybe what looks like going forward? He then said, yes, I've had the conversations, but it's focused on this game and we'll speak after the game. So it all happened very quickly on Monday. I'm at a game to prepare for a quick turnaround this week to organise, speak to players. So the focus has been on, because the quick turnaround from the Leeds game, the focus has been on the Burnley game. And I think that we'll speak after the game. Because I think it's important that we give the Burnley match the respect and focus it needs to prepare for the team in such a short space. Now, look, I've got no issue with that. Fletcher is definitely saying the correct things there. He's saying the correct things. My only thing in that is, why is Wilcox? Why is like, I know why he is, because I know his position. But who is Jason Wilcox to have any fucking opinion on this side? Like, the fact that he's having a chat with Wilcox. What the fuck did Wilcox ever do in his career? I mean, I think Wilcox won a Premier League, right? I think he was in the Blackburn 94, 95 squad. Like, Leicester players have done that, but I wouldn't go and say the Leicester players were the best of all time, other than potentially 2 or 3 players, right? Wilcox is not qualified. Wilcox is not qualified to be having chats about this club. And this is ultimately the problem for me. This is jobs for the boys. And again, I'll come on to it, but basically, Fletcher said, and I will get to it. So basically, Fletcher's team is going to be Sabinion from the under 20s, Travis, can't remember it, the first name, Evans. So our plan could be for the foreseeable is Darren Fletcher, Johnny Evans, Binion, Travis. Based on what? Like, I know, look, I get managers and look, I'm not blaming these guys here, but Jason Wilcox and this team, where is the succession plan here? Where is the planning? Whenever I watch stuff or I listen to things, it should always be, you always plan, right? They must have known. They must have known Ten Hag. they must have known that Ten Hag was having an issue, right? The game is tomorrow at 8:15. They must have known there was an issue, right? So why did you not already have a plan in place? Like, let's not pretend here that they've got a plan. The reason why we're having to wait, and there are two reasons why we have to wait until the summer, is because, number one, they did not expect this to happen. They thought that they could bumble on and stumble on into the January, into the next window. Okay. Second of all, there's no fucking money. There literally is no money. Like, there is no money. They didn't want to do it until then because there's no money. There's no money to go and sign a manager. This is what's being missed. There is no money to go and get a manager. Any credible club of our size, and this is no disrespect to Aston Villa, this is no disrespect to a Crystal Palace, right? I'm talking a club of our size and our history should be able to walk into Villa and go, name your price. You tell us your price, we're going to pay it. We can't do it because we don't have money. And this is why we're waiting, ladies and gentlemen, this is why we are waiting until the summer to appoint a coach, is because we can't afford it. The money isn't there to sack Amaran and to go and pay off a new manager. That is why any big club of our size cannot afford to have an interim for that long. We've got half a season left, and a lot of you guys, to be fair, are talking about Premier League title, right? Sorry, are talking about Champions League, right? So we are, as to go by many people, and not just on here, but to go with a lot of people, we're still only a couple of points away from a top four finish, right? So why would you not go and get a manager to get you top four? Because they don't have the money, they don't have the ambition. They would rather go in and it just goes to show why Wilcox and Omar need to lose their jobs. Where is the planning? Where is the contingency plan here? Right? You are by luck and by the fact that everyone else around you is playing shit, right? You're still in with we're still in mathematically with a shout for top four, right? Why would you not succession plan to go and get in another manager that could go and get you top four? But we're gonna write off a season, even though potentially we could finish fourth. Like, I don't think we are, by the way. I've always thought this season that we're going to finish between 8th and 10th, right? But why wouldn't you go and get a manager who could then potentially, like, we're going to write off a season when it's probably one of the best seasons we had in terms of points wise to be able to try to get a top four. But Ineos, the Glazers are willing to write that off for money. Just make that make sense to me. Make that make sense. How can you trust a Fletcher? And look, I may come back here to eat my own words, right? But Amaran has got through like half of the season. I still don't agree that we're going to finish in the top four, but let's just say from a hypothetical position, right? Factually, Amaran could still get us top four. We're half the season to go. We've not got 3 games to go. We've got half a season to go. It goes to prove how stupid, how idiotic, how chaotic this club is. You've got half a season. You can still get a top 4 place because we're only halfway through a season, and you haven't got a manager ready. And we're not waiting for 6 months because, oh, we're going to wait for the right guy. No, you'd already have your guy in place. Like, even if I guarantee you, even if we were to wait for a year and go and get a manager after, do you trust Jason fucking Wilcox to go out and go and get the best in class? No, it's just so look. Let's get on to the next bit. It was then asked, Darren, the natural question people will be asking is, do you want to stay beyond it? You've done so many jobs at the club. Dan mentioned the affinities you have. So then it was then said, you've mentioned you have the affinities that you would like to have and try to earn the manager's job. Is that something that you have been thinking of? You know, when you've been doing your jobs, has the main aim to be to basically in the future to go and get that job? He then says, I've thought about it, but I'm focusing on the Burnley game. I think the discussion is for after the game. That's been much going on. It's all happening so quick, he said. Quickly, all my concentration, efforts and thoughts are going on the Burnley game. I don't know, that sounds like a generic answer, but it is what it is. What's the backroom staff going to be? So he's basically said, so Bunyan's coming in, who leads the under 21s, who started my coaching career. So, and Travis Bunyan is a good guy. There's another guy as well, but he's got Alan Wright as well. So Alan Wright as the assistant as well, who is the under 21s staff as well. But he's also got Johnny Evans coming in as well. So it is it's Bunyan, Wright, Fletcher, and Johnny Evans. It just epitomizes for me, and there's no disrespect to these guys because these are all good guys. It shows the lack of intelligence, it shows the lack of planning, it shows the incompetence of this club, that they haven't succession planned. Look, you had a manager that finished 15th last season, right? Even though I support him, from a business perspective, you would already be planning for the next person. They're so negligent in their planning that they basically had to cobble together Darren Fletcher, an under 20s coach, an under 21 coach, and a Johnny Evans. So not only do we have a mishmash of players, right? We've got a mishmash of players. We've got players injured, players at the AFCON, and now we've got a mishmash of a management team. How is that? It's just utter chaos. It's just utter incompetence from the Glazers. The Glazers. Let's just put everything up to this press conference today. We've gone from Fergie, who basically left a sort of aging team, all the way through to this conclusion, whereby we've got Glazers who are disgusting, horrible owners who never come to the club. Ineos, Sir Jim, who fucking bailed them out and are making this club worse. They did it to Nice. And now one of the greatest institutions, one of the greatest football clubs, are now left with a Burnley game away at Turf Moor on a cold, freezing Wednesday night at 8:15, with 4 learner drivers in a managerial role. You've got a team bereft of players, injuries left, right, and centre. Players who are away We are absolutely in the dirt. If you'd have shown me a future, it is just when into from 2013 until now. If you just showed me this game, these players, these coaches, who we were playing, and I had no context, I would have said that we would have gone down because. And this is not about the Fletchers. This is not about the Bunions. This is not about this is not about those guys. It's a lack of. It's just a lack of integrity, a lack of anything to put this club in this position whereby we don't know who we are anymore. It's just a disgrace. Let me go down a bit before I go through. I go through more of that. The media then said, Darren, there's a lot to be said about the club over the last few months. What is your feeling of where this club is? You obviously are the epitome of United. It's one of the odds to reconnect it with its roots in well for a game. It's to try to win a football match. It was then asked, I think you've had a different through roles at the club, coaching under 18s, focus. I've been at the club. He's then said, I've had a different few roles at the club. He's coached at under 18s. I've been at the club, and whatever role, I always do the best and try to help the club, help the people that I am with, the players, the staff, and try to do everything I can to help the club. As we say, everyone expects United to be winning and on top. That is the standard. That is what we all have to try to achieve. That's the standard that's set for every club. Yeah, I'll come back onto that as well. Let me get through some of your chats first. Seb says, "How it's been a while, mate." Seb05, mate. It is a shit show, my friend. Yes, we need to get another on a point, said Simon. They want to win the league in 2028, mate. They are Sir Jim, and if you listen to this, at the end of the day, you've got to give Rúben at least 3 years. I mean, you look at Arteta at Arsenal. I'm not going to be swayed by some media presence. You've got to give him at least 3 years. Oh yeah, I'd say that Rúben will get 3 years, and Rúben has to prove that he is capable of his job. But I definitely think that Rúben will get 3 years. Look at Arteta. He had an awful time. I mean, and those are his words. Like, I mean, a guy that said those words and then basically fed us a load of fucking bullshit that everybody bought, that we were going to win the league by 2028. Absolute nonsense. I think you could tempt Arsene Wenger out of retirement for 6 months. If we finish top 4, then it's down to Amaran. Wenger would never do that. I hope it's a joke. I'm not getting pessimistic until they give me the right to be. Ineos wouldn't care if we won the FA Cup. Who do you want as the long-term coach at United? We're still in fight for Europe. And Lee Wood, that is exactly my point, right? Technically, factually, we are still in with a shout of going to Champions League spaces. I don't believe that we will do, but mathematically, we're in there. Go and get Emery. Like, I know he doesn't want to come. Go and do it. Like, I know that, but I want a coach who doesn't want to come. I want a coach who you can't get. Ollie could also be Ineos downfall. The fans will definitely not turn on back on Ollie. I agree with you. Liam, actually agree with you on that point, because they're not going to turn against him again, are they? Someone says, I'd be glad when 3 players come back from AFCON. Can you imagine? Can you imagine those AFCON players now going, what is going on here? Like, imagine Cunha. Right. This is how I know. Right. This is how I know Cunha is not a lifelong fan either. Right. This is how I know Cunha is not a fan, because if he was a fan of this club, he would never have come here. I'm joking, by the way, but no. If I was him, if Cunha was a proper fan, he would know, because he's only 25, right? So 10 years ago, 13 years ago, we were still shit. So Cunha should have known better. I don't blame him. I don't, I blame him. It's his own fault. Cunha's coming here, supporting this club. He's got a manager sack now. I'm kidding, by the way. I will be glad we're not yet. Wilcox and Barada out. Yes, I genuinely believe Wenger could do it for 6 months. We are never ready for a Klopp or an Arteta-like manager, always looking for scapegoats to take the blame. I mean, Arteta, just to be fair here, Arteta wasn't the finished guy either, but yeah. 005, yeah, it's been a while, buddy. I'm good I hope you are as well. The only thing Fletcher hasn't done is sell the tea, Simon. I think he has, mate. Glory to Man United. Thing is killing the club. The other club in the Prem finished 15th, and next season their fans want top 4. Fans got to get their head a wobble. Look, Peter, look, I'm not gonna. I agree with the sentiment, but I also agree why people expect top 4. Peter, this is my stance on it, right? Is this. I demand that we win the Premier League every single season. I demand we win the FA Cup. I demand we get into the Champions League. Not because I'm arrogant, not because I think it's going to happen, not because I'm stupid. It's because I want to maintain those standards. That's it. It's because I want us to maintain the standards. And I think fans are right to demand that. We should be demanding it, right? And even if the club finished 15th, I think it's correct and right for fans to think, no, we're going to get into the top 4 race. Because the moment, Peter, the moment that we don't demand Premier League, Champions League football, we are finished. We're finished right now, but it's when the fans stop expecting winning stuff. The moment this fan base, the moment us fans start accepting 15th, 10th, 8th, it's finished. So Peter, I agree with you. I've even said on here that I think, how can you go from 15th to 4th? It can happen. But I agree with those fans that say, we should finish 4th, because the moment that we accept finishing 8th, 6th, and we keep saying, the only thing that we've got as fans is keep saying to ourselves, we will finish first. We will finish 4th. Look, we've got to do that. We've got to do that. Ollie is 6 to 4 favourite. The 4 men are hardly the Fab 4. Ollie will be in until the end of the season. If he lasts that long, probably better selling, but Radcliffe and the Glazers won't. Will never die. It's going to be a struggle for years. Dave, the Red Mate. One thing I will say on here, and I've tried to contact people to get them onto the channel. I think the protests need to happen. Look, if you guys, and again, I'm like expecting people to do or say things. If you get an opportunity and somebody asks you, or you've got an opportunity to get your voice heard and say to people, look, I think we should, because the reason why these groups hold back is because unlike United, unlike the Glazers, these communities, the ones who are fan led, these guys won't do a single thing unless they know they've got the backing from the fans. We need to give them backing. So if you've got an email, I mean the 1958 or whoever it is, send them an email. Just say, look, we will back you, or just just agree. Just agree. If you see a post from those guys and it's a post about should we yes. The more people that put their name down, the more people that push this out there, the better. Leewood says, I personally think we need a strong, no-sense manager like an Emery or an Ancelotti. Glazer's the gruesome twosome. What top-flight managers would want to go to United? Agreed. Have a laugh to keep from crying. None of us can do a damn thing about it. We're simply not the best. We're simply not the best. We're simply a mess. It's all doomed for us fans. We will never throw in the towel. Look, we never will. We will never throw in the towel. We will be here, maybe not me, but we will be here long after the Glazers have gone. I will be an old man and I will probably still be sat there wearing that golden green shirt saying, the Glazers out. But I'll never throw it in. Never throw it. I just hope I get to live to see the day that we have the back of these fucking animals. Simon says, what a lovely start to 2026. United, the gift that keeps on giving. CEO says, Luis Enrique. I would love him. I think it'd be fantastic. Leewood, any manager would still want United on the CV. Had a rubbish season. Still got Mbeumo and Cunha, despite there being despite them being offered Champions League elsewhere. Leo Hunter says, hi, hello. Leo, Simon says, how about Xavi? Again, when I think about coaches, we've got to think about two things. One is he an outspoken coach? Is he going to be a manager or a coach? What players is he going to want? And I think you have to have Premier League experience as well. Simon says, just give us Frank Spencer or Mr. Bean. Ryan says, Enrique would be a great choice. To be fair, he's top draw. Personally, I want Emery or Ancelotti. The thing with Xavi is that he's his own philosophy. And do we have the place to suit his style? I don't think Dick Emery won't leave. Shampers. Gareth says, hi. Jim Shamperish Radcliffe. Who do you think will get as a manager in the summer? I think we go for Tuchel. I think it's got to be some sort of yes man. Ancelotti. I mean, Ancelotti's not a yes man, but I think we go for someone like that. I think we go for Tuchel, but Tuchel is very outspoken. I think it's got to be one of Xavi, Tuchel. The thing is I don't know. I can't read this club. If you're asking me like who I'd want, I would want an Emery. I also got a feeling. I think it's going to be I think it's going to be one of Glasner. It's going to be Xavi, or it's going to be Tuchel, and I think it's going to be Glasner. There's no loyalty in football. Even if they offered him money, he would go. Emery, like everyone else, has a price. I would love to see Spurs dropped down the table. We get Champions League football and rub it in their faces. Good night all. See you tomorrow. Good night, David. Cunha, what happened? Sorry, I'm late. Have a good night. What the other rat called, who was a City reject? What? Tevez. Poll is very close, 50-50. What's the poll saying? What are we saying? What are we saying in the poll tonight, people? It is 50-50. That's an interesting one, actually. I would have thought with the current sort of nostalgia, I would have thought it would have been interesting. Nobody, but everybody says, how much would it cost to lure Enrique away from PSG? I think it's out of the question. I think he's out of contract. I do think he's out of contract. I do. I think Enrique is too. Let me check. When is Luis Enrique out of contract? Okay, so what are we? 2026. So Luis Enrique his contract expires next year. So as of June, he's got a so he's out of contract 2026, but PSG have triggered the extra year, so he's got a year. So in the past, United will always be the club that won silverware and annoyed other clubs by doing it. But since 2013, we've been a right mess. Fans and media overreact on the smallest of choices as well. Can't let the manager do his thing, or don't be player FC and question irrelevant things like his subs. There was no bench. Fair point. I think the job is too big for most managers. Xavi or Enrique, I think, would be overjoyed, but no doubt either would happen. Glasner is a no for me. The three at the back is an issue. Joke of a club repeat the cycle after sacking the last manager for his system. Quote, come out saying they wanted him to change it. Why sign him? And Curtis, mate, exactly. Curtis, exactly. Like this. You hire a 3-4-3, and then these reports are coming out that Jason fucking Wilcox. I'm sorry, who are you? Like, Wilcox, who are you? Like, you had a director of football role or whatever it was, scout at a Southampton. Was at City, and he was a youth coach. You've come into this club, you've basically scammed your way into this club, and you're telling a qualified Amaran coach, and look, whatever you think about him, who's actually coached and won Champions League games, Wilcox knows nothing about this club, and you're pontificating, you're standing there over a coach, telling him what formations he should play. Fuck off, Wilcox, you utter twat. Like, just what an absolute moron. Like, it is embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing. It's actually embarrassing that we're letting Jason Wilcox, who average at best, hasn't done any major job at any big club. City, you could argue, but again, he wasn't big there. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing. Ferdinand says Arteta would take the job. Do you? No. Rio's not saying that. Come on now. Come on. Rio's not saying that. Come on. I mean, no. Come on now. Gil and Fergie worked a lot of magic in the market, and now they deemed the academy a top priority. Exactly. I'd have always been like Rocky. We tend to win our fights after a beating. Please not Southgate, no waistcoat. Scott Bramall, Joey Barton. Oh, Jesus. The owners basically want a robot and they will do what they say. Emery won't leave. No, I don't think he will. What about Eddie Howe? So, actually, Eddie Howe, I've said previously, I would take Howe. And again, I don't think he'll be a glamorous choice, right? But my decision, my personal choice on a coach is built around who owns this club, right? There are two things for me at play here, and what we have to logically think, right? If you could have any manager in the world and you were going to give him players, fine. Go and get Simeone. go and get whoever it is, right? When we're deciding on a coach, it's a bit like when you're a child and somebody gives you a magazine and it's got all of the greatest cars in the world. It's got Ferraris, it's got Porsches in it, it's got all sorts of cars. And you look at the magazine and go, I want those cars, right? In real life, all you can afford is a Fiesta. Nothing wrong with a Fiesta, by the way. I used to own one. Nothing wrong with that, right? All you can afford is that car, right? We can talk about our Emery's, or we can talk about, but we have to think who owns this club, okay? Xavi is going to want his players. Zidane is going to want his players. Any other coach you're going to bring into this club is going to want their players. Also, if you get an experimental coach, guess what? They're going to want their players as well. I know what we are. I know where we are. I know what we're going to do in the next window. Not a lot. So therefore, we need a manager who can go in with these cretins, because you do know we're going to have Luke Shaw next year. You do know that Luke Shaw is going to be here next year. Casemiro may or may not go. We're still going to have the vast majority of these players next season, right? Rashford could come back, and I know many people will be absolutely elated, but we need a manager right now who's going to come in and be able to work under the structure. And that is why I would go with Emery, because it is no disrespect to him. It's actually testament to him, because Emery for me is the only guy. Howe as well, I would more than happily take Howe, because I think Howe has got that experience of working in a club where actually they don't particularly want him there because they can't get the cash into the side, but I think he's done a fantastic job. So for me, I would go for a Howe, Emery, because I know what we are as a club. I know what we're going to spend. Ancock says have to go for an Emery. The pool of United over Villa should be too great. Whoever comes needs at least 2 summer windows. Look, we've said that they're just not going to get that, are they? Glasner is a no. It's the formation he uses. Iriola is the realistic choice. Possibly, we need somebody who can handle the pressure. What do you think of Goldbridge? Because he's actually a Forest fan. Look, Lewis Running Channel. I've got no opinion on him whatsoever. No opinion at all, my friend, because I don't know him, and it's not fair. I'll comment on the channel and I'll comment on the things that I see, but I can't comment on a person that I don't know. I'm sure he's a lovely guy. I just don't know him as a person, so I can't. And he'll probably sue me as well. I can bet you Ineos will go and get Southgate. It wouldn't surprise me. Somebody put super chat in. Scott Legend. Scotty Legend, my friend. It's just something for the manager in 2028. JB played under everyone. Thank you for the super chat, Scotty. Absolute legend. Scott is a legend. You all legends, but Scott, absolutely, mate. You are a legend, my friend, and thank you guys for all the support as per always. Let me go through the chats, guys, because you are absolutely smashing it with these chats tonight, as you always do. I promise you I will get to them. Okay. Ineos should sell Bruno and Dalot and buy some new players. Do not tell that to Grace. Do not say that to Grace, because she will be annoyed. And if they do, I'm done with United, mate. Let me tell you. Southgate. I said a while ago, Scott, the owners want Southgate. Well, we've been saying this on here. I think I've done that. Yeah, it is disgraceful. It was a waste of time. to employ Amaran in the first place. Wilcox seems lost. Maybe he needs to go. Wilcox is a charlatan. We've got good points against United. Wolves played great the other week. Ollie at the wheel again. Ineos and the Glazers are just screwing with the fans at this point. Blue coat out so we don't turn into another United. Messi or Cristiano? Look, Messi is a gift. Cristiano is the epitome of hard work. All of our previous managers have proven track records by winning trophies, so let's keep up the trend. Not Southgate, he hasn't won anything. You teach the academy the first team philosophies early. Southgate would crack. I don't think he's suitable at all. Gill and Fergie were visionaries, yes they were. Darren should be given his chance. He will be. Mate, I thought as soon as he's on the training pitch, overseeing the coach, it seems like he's the manager and we want the coach to do what he says. What are we saying here? Defo, no Arteta. Rúben out, let's go, says KK. I would wait 2 years and get Cristiano as the manager. I bet he could do the job. Scott, I am not a fan of player power, right? I can't stand it, right? The only time in my life I would be a hypocrite to the max, Cristiano. If Cristiano become a coach, right, I don't care if he's dog shit, right? I would be Ronaldo is at the wheel. I will be of any player, ex-player. I'm like, no. But if we could get Cristiano back, even just for a season, do it. Do you have a season ticket for United? I won for Wolves, but £875 for 4 points at home is robbery for 800. And look, Lewis. What I'll always say on here, Lewis, is this, right? Is a fan is a fan. I don't care if you go to every single game. I will caveat that for a second. If you support from Botswana, if you support wherever you are, you're a fan. I always give a special mention to the match-going fans. Always. Because you guys are always there at the game. It's okay for me to sit here. It's okay for me to watch games. It's okay for me to, I do spend money per month. It's not this, well, it's not quite the same. But you guys go out for those games when it's raining, snowing, hot, stadium is leaking. I know the toilets are awful. The stadium leaks. You've got to go there. You've got to go after work. You might have kids, and you give your time. Away fans as well. You go home away, and you guys have to go and watch that. And look, I respect all fans, but an absolute massive respect from me to those people who go to the games. Arteta was always boss with it. Ollie is gonna cook. This is what he needs right now. Simeone is someone who's not really spoken too much. Maybe worth a shout. Hypothetically speaking, if Pep was to leave next week, would you take him as a manager? He has no, Simon. No. Look, Simon. The logical part of my brain would go yes. No. So, Surgery, the question is the season a write-off with an interim in charge? Yes. Yeah, it is, Dino. This is why I said it at the very top of the show, is I think we finished between 8th and 10th, right? Irrespective of my opinion, I'm going to chuck my opinion out of the window, right? You guys keep saying, and correctly so, that we are in a shout for Champions League spaces, which is factually correct, right? We're halfway through the season. Why would Ineos want to throw this away now? It baffles me. And I think we have. Go and get your manager now. Walk into Villa and say, give me your coach. We will pay you whatever money. Here's a check. Give me your manager. Go to Brighton and go, here's another check. We want your player. Go and write checks and say, we are going to get into the Champions League because we are a big club. But what we do is we go to Klarna and we say, oh, if we buy now, can we pay you like 20 quid a week? So they basically go to Klarna, or they go to like these like cash things, and then they'll go, okay, like if we pay you now, can we pay you in installments of like £1 a week? Like this is what we do. While big clubs are going into like a Waitrose, right? And they're going into a Waitrose, and they're going into the steak aisle, and they're going into the salmon aisle, and they're going into the fresh cut meats, and they're going into the fresh cut cheeses. We're basically going around the back in the bins, and we're going and we're doing the bin diving. We're going in the back of Tesco's bins, and we're trying to find some bits and scraps. If you've seen those things where they basically like they chuck their food in the bin, and then they've got people who pick up like some eggs and go, oh look, that is what we do. We basically go to dive in bins to find coaches, managers, players, staff. We are bin divers FC. Dino, he's been here and there and everywhere. Yep. Ollie isn't a tactic-driven manager. These players rely on individual brilliance. Yes, let's get someone that can make the most of it, like Ollie. We need a manager that plays our style. What we used to say, Eddie or Emery or Xavi. It's a good shout, Scott. I was Emery too. Carrick was 1998 Toyota 4Runner. Pogba is a shite Tesla. Sancho could go to another club too. Sancho is going to another club. Xavi, I think, has to be considered at least. Depends on how he would make it through. Thing is, my mate Ollie has done better. Ollie has done good, mate. I'm not saying that he's not. He has. Do you think that we're going to win tomorrow night? Look, I mean, I don't know, my friend. Clever move by Ineos to get the fan base nostalgic with Ollie Fletcher Carrick thing is diversion. Steve, mate, I think Steve, you have hit the fucking nail on the head. I think you have hit the nail on the head. I do. I think Steve's 100% right. Get the fans talking about Fletcher, Carrick, Ollie as a fucking smokescreen. Steve, comment of the night to you, Steve. I don't believe I've heard him say he wants to be a manager. I know he wants to be involved in the ownership side. Getting Emery away from Villa might be an issue unless he's out of contract. He's not going anywhere. You are not getting Unai. No, we're not. If Emery was to win the title, then he won't leave because he would want his team and his title. Yes. Ineos made a good decision on this one. The club needed it. Give Ineos time. Nobody believes that. Mark Goldbridge, absolutely not. We need a manager that plays our style. What we used to say, Eddie or Emery or Xavi or PSG manager. Get Southgate and we go down. I do agree. I do agree with that, Dino. If Grace is not going to be happy. I'd take Ollie based on the fact he didn't get on with Dalot. Dalot could be out the door when Maz is back. Telling you, Grace is not going to be happy. Jamie Carragher, you look like Carragher. Thank you. I just wonder what reception Fletcher will get when he leads out of players. I think he'll get claps. Honestly, we can't be going for managers who are at clubs that are doing better than United. We should look at the managers who make teams perform better with lesser resources. I agree. I semi-agree, and I don't, because I don't look. The best managers are the ones who are in work. I don't want to manage. I don't mind a manager who's run his contract down. I don't mind a manager from a team where the team has asked him to sign a contract, but he says no, and he's run his contract down. That's a different thing. I don't want an out of work coach. I want a manager that he doesn't want to leave the team, and they don't want to leave the club wanting to stay. Those are the managers that you want. Carragher is a tool. Thanks, mate. We need to go for Emery. Everyone's got a price. What do you think of Fulham Silva? He's been considered. Do you know what? I like Silva. I do. I've often wondered why nobody's taken a punt on him. My only kind of side thing to that is you look at how Frank has turned out, and I'm not saying that that's a patron on a Silva. I think it's a good point. I do. I think it's an insult to approach Villa for the manager. He's doing fantastically well there. What if I show speed became mentor for United this season and bring Christian? What are you talking about, mate? Ali Hamza, mate, that has got to be the most. I wanna word this in the correct way, because I think I need to get this right. Hang on. Is it? You're not Gen Z, are you? What's after? Here we go. Here we go. That has to be the most alpha super chat. Sorry, the most alpha. So you've got you've got millennials, you've got Zoomers, and then you've got the alphas. I think that is the most alpha response I've heard in this. So you have to be, surely you've got to be somewhere between. I reckon you're probably maybe you're a Zoomer. I reckon you've got to be somewhere along the lines of 13 or 14 years old to literally come up with that comment. What if I show speed, become a mentor? What could he show? So mate, I promise you, I'm not picking on you, right? I promise you, it's just fascinating, right? Fascinating, right? How can a YouTuber, right? And I'm not professing to be one. Just because I'm on here, I'm not professing to be one, right? How can a YouTuber I show speed and look, from what I've seen, and I may be wrong here, right? The guy looks like he couldn't get his way out of a wet paper bag. He doesn't strike me as the sharpest tool in the shed. Who is he going to mentor? Like, I mean, I'm surprised if he can walk and talk at the same time. Who is I show speed? I mean, look, I really, really hope I'm actually thinking about the right guy here. It must be that guy. No, yeah, it is. Mate, I am that for me has to probably be. I've been doing this now for 6 months. That probably has to be the most mind-bending comment I've ever had. If I show speed became the mentor this season, I mean, somebody make that make sense to me. Mate, mate, just you actually, I actually now feel like I show speed. My brain's gone. We should not go for world-class cream of crop managers, but with a proven record of doing well. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. Close to 30k. We are, guys, and it's all thanks to you guys, legend. Get the cricket on, boys. Thomas Frank at Spurs should also be a warning for Glasner to United. It could be too big. England just got in. Only COVID kept us on the away matches. I'm wrapping this up. Come on, the cricket's on. Like, Howard, my friend, enjoy the cricket. Tell oh, all right. I will tell you something. Defensively, we might be crap, but going forward with Cristiano as boss, all attacking the things that front line could learn. I do agree. I'm going to the Burnley game tomorrow. I do come on the channel often. I go. Lee Wood, mate. Lee Wood. Thank you, my friend. Huge respect to the match going fans, and especially the fans who go away as well. So, Lee Wood, look, I hope tomorrow it's a good game, my friend. I appreciate the support, my friend, and I do hope you do have a good game tomorrow. I'm going to go for a cheeky 2-1 win tomorrow. Glenn, I hope you are not related to Carragher. Everybody has a price in football, and we should go all out for Emery. I do agree with you. A box of scraps. We're looking at the clearance section. Do you think we're going to win tomorrow night? In normal circumstances, I would say yes, but I think tomorrow's a free hit. Like I hope we win for Lee Wood tomorrow. I hope we win for the away fans tomorrow. So I really hope so. Ollie deserves a chance. I think he's done well before. Should we give Darren time? Maybe give him a week. Who's most likely? Who do we think? I think it's going to be Glasner, mate. I do. They attempted the smokescreen, but Ollie has been here before and won't be as hyped up as the first time. Bet we get Ange. Oh, geez, no. Celtic and Chelsea already had standby managers quickly, and United will always dither and faff around. Agree, Simon. Damien can do well. So Maresca is a legit option to consider, but like you said, yes, man, with the board. The board might think they have been smart, but what if we don't get the manager bounce? Exactly. Herbie, legend. Look at Thomas Frank, disaster at Tottenham. United are resigned to the same mediocrity as that club until owners leave. Future is mega bleak. So Gen Alpha, yeah. Not sure if Silver is on the list of possibilities, but in my opinion, case of high hole Silver. Look at my message, mate. I've got 1,000 message. I think Darren can do well at United with the team he's got now. I disagree. I sorry, my friend. I don't think he can. Okay, legends. I'm off. Have a good day. Hope to catch you on the next stream. Simon, legend, my friend. Have a good one, and I'll see you next time. I show speed, left feet. Right foot. I'd take Southgate now if our speed ever comes in these conversations again. JB shows meat, mate. I shouldn't. I can't. Ollie back at the wheel. Fernand will love it. We need the Scott. We need the pivot. We need the pivot. What am I going to do when this pivot's gone? Going to be gutted. When is Delit due back? Delit's not due back just yet. The pivot will never die. Darren Fletcher will definitely work. Release the Trenchman with his shovel and bucket. He's gone to... Glasner would be a gamble. He plays a back three, same as Amaran. I don't see the point if we sack someone and get someone in with the same formation. So look, guys, I'm going to go. Fantastic show tonight, by the way. Brilliant, amazing show tonight. Look, what is abundantly clear, look, we've kind of gone through the press conference. What was abundantly clear. He was asked, questions about, so does he think that he can get the job? I like what Fletcher said tonight. I've got no problem with Fletcher. I'm actually looking forward to the match tomorrow. I will do a watch along for the match as well tomorrow, because it's going to be interesting to see what Fletcher can do. Interested to see who we play Tomorrow, I do think Mason Mount's back. That means fuck all to me. So it's going to be an interesting one tomorrow. Look, you guys are going to get spammed for the channels are going to spam you tomorrow. This is why I've been trying to hold back. Well, number one, for work, and two, because I do not want to spam you guys with shit, right? We're going to get spun around and spammed tomorrow. The only thing that matters tomorrow is that Fletcher is taking the game tomorrow. Latito says they should just hire you for manager. I don't think I could do a worse job. My only problem is I wouldn't be a yes man. I would literally walking on the first day, I would call up the Glazers and tell them to go fuck themselves. So I would be the worst manager. I'd probably last 10 minutes. I would probably walk into that club. I would last. I'd probably insult everybody, every player, every manager, and be out in exactly. I would be hired and fired in the first 20 minutes. But yeah, look, guys, I am looking forward to the game tomorrow for the wrong reasons. I'm just going to say this now, is that I'm not happy. We who do we want, JB, and when do we want him? Now, exactly. I will, and then we'll walk out. Exactly, Herbie. Exactly. I'll walk out of there with 10 million. Nobody. I did miss that chat. Great show. I subscribed. Hope to catch you soon, mate. Thank you. Absolute legend. And then with 10 million. Yeah, so look, I'm gutted. I would like to have seen the manager, but the manager in place. But look, Amaran knew what he said. Amaran wanted out. I've got newfound respect for him. In fact, I think Amaran handled it like a boss. I think Amaran knew the writing was on the wall. Sorry, Scott. I did. Let me go back. I'll be assistant Dino for head chef. Amazing. What a trio. That would be the trio of I honestly can't blame Amaran at this point. And look, I wanted him to last the season. I wanted us to be. Sadly, we're not. I did want us to be a different club, but look, we're not. So look, guys, I will be back tomorrow. Watch on tomorrow. I may or may not do a show tomorrow afternoon just because of work. But I will definitely be back tomorrow night. And I will be watching the football with you tomorrow night. So, look, guys, thank you for watching. Fantastic show. Thank you so much for being there. Thank you so much to the chat for the support. It blows my mind away that you guys support the channel. Appreciate it. Absolutely amazing. Tam says, please don't go. I blame him for losing to Ange 3 times in 6 months, including the Euro League final. Look, Stewie, look, you've got no comeback from me on that. Please apply for the manager's job. Tanya, welcome to the United Devil channel as a member. Absolute thank you for supporting the channel. Absolute legend. Absolute, it never ceases to amaze me that people are willing to take a punt on this channel, willing to come into the community, and willing to support the channel. So look, Tanya, absolute thank you so much. But guys, I will be back tomorrow. Tanya, short and sweet, but I will mention you tomorrow as well. Thank you for joining. I will be back tomorrow evening to do the show. Probably be back around, in and around 8ish. Tomorrow, probably 7:45, 8 tomorrow. What is your plan for tomorrow? Are you I wish I was, but no, sadly not. So look, guys, you're absolute legends. Have a good rest of your morning, day, afternoon, even wherever you are in the world. I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. I would love to. I am not going to be the manager. I'd love to, but not going to happen. Scott says pivot out. I say pivot out as well. Yeah, pivot out. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. You guys are absolute legends. Before I go, Tanya says hi. Tanya, thank you so much for supporting the channel. Really, really appreciate it. Absolute legend. Feel free to join us tomorrow. I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow. I might do a little show tomorrow at some point. But look, you guys, I cannot thank you enough. You are all legends of this channel. We get bigger and bigger and bigger. And once we get to 30k, I will be giving away some shirts. So it's 8:15 tomorrow. I think it's 8:15 tomorrow. Yeah. So watch along tomorrow. Let's get it done, guys. Absolute legends. And as I say, I'm JB. This is the United Devil channel. And I will be back tomorrow. Thank you so much for support. And I will see you very, very soon. Take care.